What if I told you that the key to stronger, more dependable erections after 60 isn't hidden in a pill, a surgery, or an expensive treatment, but in something so ordinary you've likely ignored it your whole life? That's right. The very thing you pour into your glass every single day could either be quietly restoring your strength, or silently draining it away. I know how heavy that sounds, because I've seen it up close. Men in their 60s and 70s sitting across from me, voices lowered, ashamed to admit they've lost the spark they once took for granted. They whisper about nights of frustration, mornings without energy, and the creeping fear that their best years are already behind them. And yet, what they often discover is that their struggle isn't a curse of age. It's a simple, overlooked habit that can be turned around. My name is Dr. John E. Morley. I've spent decades helping men over 60 rediscover their confidence, their energy, and their masculinity. And today, I want to promise you something. If you stay with me, you'll learn how to use the simplest, most natural habit on earth to restore your circulation, balance your hormones, and bring back the strength you thought was gone. Most men don't know this. That's why I urge you to stay until the very end. I'll explain exactly how it works, how to do it step by step, and what results you can expect in the first 7, 14, and 30 days. But before we dive in, take a second to support this community. Hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell so you never miss another honest, science-based health tip made just for men over 60. And let me hear from you. Type 1 in the comments if this message resonates. Type 0 if it doesn't. Your feedback helps me keep making these videos as useful as possible. Alright, let's get straight to it, starting with the first and most overlooked key to restoring blood flow and natural erections in men over 60. Why water matters more than you think. When men sit across from me, men in their 60s, 70s, sometimes even 80s, they usually expect me to talk about testosterone shots, expensive medications, or surgery. So when I lean forward and ask, "How much water are you drinking? And how are you drinking it?" most of them laugh. They think I'm joking, but I'm not. Because here's the reality. Your body is made of more than 60% water, and your penis is no exception. Think of an erection for what it really is, a hydraulic event. Blood rushes into the chambers of the penis, pressure builds, and firmness is created. No blood flow, no erection. Weak blood flow, weak erection. And what makes up most of your blood? Water. The quality of your erections depends on the quality of your circulation, and the quality of your circulation depends on hydration. When you're properly hydrated, your blood is smooth, light, and able to flow quickly, like a clean river running through an open valley. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard, oxygen moves freely, and nutrients reach the places that need them most, including the delicate tissues of your penis. But when you're dehydrated, everything changes. Blood becomes thicker, almost sticky. It doesn't glide. Your circulation slows, and your heart has to pump harder just to do the basics. And when the moment comes that you need that surge of blood, your body simply cannot deliver. That's when men notice the difference. Less firmness, less stamina, or sometimes no erection at all. I've had patients who believed their masculinity was fading, who thought age had stolen something that could never return, only to realize the problem was simpler. They weren't drinking water consistently, or they were drinking it the wrong way. Once they corrected that, their energy lifted, their erections grew stronger, and their confidence began to return. I want you to hear me clearly. You are not broken. Your body is capable of more than you think, but it needs the right foundation. Before you reach for complicated treatments, before you accept decline as just aging, ask yourself this: is your blood truly flowing the way it should? Because if water can transform your blood, and blood is the key to erections, then drinking water the right way may be the single most overlooked solution men have been waiting for. And as powerful as this is, hydration goes beyond blood flow. It also shapes your hormones, especially testosterone, the very hormone of desire and confidence. That's what I want to show you next, the hidden link between hydration and testosterone. The link between hydration and testosterone. This section should feel both scientific and deeply reassuring, showing why water is not just about circulation, but about hormones. the true foundation of male vitality. Erections are not only about blood flow, they are also about hormones. And the king of those hormones is testosterone. Without enough of it, everything shifts. Desire fades, energy disappears, mood darkens, and erections lose their strength. I can't tell you how many times men in their 60s or 70s have sat across from me, their voices low, asking, "Doctor, why do I feel older than I really am?" And more often than not, the culprit is not age itself. It's dehydration, quietly lowering their testosterone levels day after day. Here's how it works. When your body is well hydrated, everything runs smoothly. Your liver and kidneys are able to process hormones effectively. Your brain communicates clearly with your glands. Your stress levels stay balanced. And as a result, testosterone production stays steady. But the moment dehydration creeps in, your body flips a switch. Suddenly, it's in survival mode. Its priority is no longer vitality or performance. It's simply keeping you alive. That means circulation and hormone production are sacrificed, and it gets worse. Dehydration raises cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone. Think of testosterone and cortisol as sitting on opposite ends of a seesaw. When cortisol rises, testosterone falls. I've seen men walk into my office stressed, drained, withdrawn, convinced they were losing their masculinity, only to discover their bodies weren't just dehydrated, they were drowning in cortisol. Their hormones were out of balance not because of age, but because of chronic thirst and stress. What does low testosterone feel like? It feels like fatigue that won't go away. Like disinterest in intimacy, like a heavy fog pressing down on your mind. Some men describe it as becoming a shadow of who they once were. But here's the good news. Hydration is a lever you can pull right now. It doesn't cost a penny. It doesn't require a prescription. And it can make a difference faster than you think. When you drink water properly, you help your body lower cortisol, balance stress, and keep testosterone strong enough to restore your confidence. I've seen men rediscover their spark, their drive, their energy, their ability to wake up in the morning feeling alive, simply by making hydration a daily priority. So, the next time you feel drained, moody, or uninterested in intimacy, don't assume it's just age. It might be your body quietly begging for water. And when hydration restores testosterone, it doesn't just improve desire. It brings back stamina, mood, and the resilience that makes you feel like yourself again. But hormones are only part of the story. Because the next thing hydration touches is the very fuel that carries you through each day, your energy and stamina. Let's look at how water changes the way you feel every single day. Energy, fatigue, and erections. This section should help older men recognize that what they often blame on just aging might actually be dehydration stealing their vitality. When I sit with men in their 60s and 70s, I often hear the same confession. "Doctor, I'm just so tired. By the time evening comes, I don't have the strength, let alone the interest for intimacy." They believe it's the natural weight of age pressing down on them. But more often than not, the culprit is something much simpler. Dehydration slowly draining away their vitality. Even a mild loss of water, just 1 or 2% of your body weight, can leave you fatigued, dizzy, or unable to focus. Imagine your body as an engine running without enough oil. The gears start to grind, friction builds, and performance falters. That's exactly what dehydration does inside of you. It makes your blood thicker, your heart work harder, and your cells cry out for the fluid they need to function. And when your body is running on empty, it will always prioritize survival over passion. That means your energy goes to keeping you alive, not to fueling intimacy. I've seen men who thought they were losing their masculinity, convinced that their spark was gone forever, only to discover that their bodies were simply thirsty. Once they began hydrating properly, sipping water steadily throughout the day instead of chugging it in bursts, they noticed something remarkable. Their afternoons felt lighter, their energy more stable, their mind clearer. And when night came, their body finally had the stamina to respond. This isn't about miracle pills. It's about restoring the balance nature intended. Fatigue doesn't just steal your energy. It chips away at your confidence. It makes you second-guess yourself, hesitate in moments that used to feel natural, and withdraw from the intimacy you once enjoyed. And that withdrawal creates its own spiral of doubt, frustration, and distance. But here's the hopeful truth. When you begin to hydrate consistently and correctly, your body responds quickly. Energy returns, the heavy fog of fatigue lifts, and your confidence begins to rise again. Intimacy no longer feels like a burden. It feels like a joy, something you look forward to instead of something you fear. So, if hydration can restore energy and lift the weight of fatigue, the next question is crucial. Are you drinking water the right way? Because believe me, most men are doing it wrong, and those small mistakes could be costing them their performance. The wrong way to drink water. Over the years, I've had countless men sit across from me and insist, "Doctor, hydration can't be my problem. I drink plenty of water every day." They lean back with confidence, certain they've checked that box. But when I dig deeper, I almost always find the same mistake. It's not the amount of water they drink, it's the way they drink it. And that, gentlemen, makes all the difference. You see, it is entirely possible to drink water every single day and still be dehydrated where it matters most. Let me tell you about one patient of mine, a 71-year-old retired teacher. He was sharp, healthy in many ways, but frustrated beyond words. "Doctor," he said, "I chug bottles of water 2 or 3 times a day, but I still feel sluggish, and intimacy feels out of reach." When I asked him to change nothing except how he drank, sipping slowly, spacing it out, and choosing room temperature water instead of ice cold, he returned weeks later with a smile on his face. "I didn't know it could make that much of a difference, but it did," he told me. "Here's why. When you gulp down water in big bursts, your body can't absorb it efficiently. Most of it rushes straight through your system, sending you to the bathroom instead of nourishing your cells. Drinking large amounts right before bed disrupts your sleep, forcing you awake at night and lowering testosterone, the very hormone you need for energy and performance. And while icy water might feel refreshing in the moment, it actually forces your body to burn energy, warming it up, stealing resources from digestion and circulation. These small mistakes add up. Men who chug, who drink too much too late, or who rely on ice-cold water often find themselves bloated, fatigued, and still dehydrated, despite drinking all day long. It's not your fault if you've been doing this. No one ever told you that water, like medicine, has a right way and a wrong way. But once you see the difference, it makes perfect sense. Your body was never designed for shocks of water all at once. It was designed for steady, thoughtful hydration that fuels every organ, every hormone, and yes, every erection. So remember this: drinking more water is not enough. You must drink it in a way your body can actually use. And when you do, the change can be extraordinary. Which brings us to the next step: the habits that show you the right way to drink water. The ones most men have never even heard of, but desperately need to know. The right way to drink water for erections. After listening to men describe their struggles for decades, I can tell you with certainty, the real problem is not that they aren't drinking water, it's that no one ever taught them the right way to do it. And yes, there is a right way. How you drink water can mean the difference between feeling sluggish and drained, or feeling energized, balanced, and ready when the moment calls. The first habit I teach my patients is to sip slowly, not chug. Your body can only absorb a small amount of water at a time. When you gulp down a full glass in seconds, most of it bypasses your system, leaving your cells thirsty. But when you sip steadily throughout the day, your blood stays at the perfect consistency, thin enough to flow easily, rich enough to deliver oxygen where it matters most. That means smoother circulation and more reliable erections. The second habit is simple but powerful. Sit while drinking. It may sound old-fashioned, but your body responds differently when you are calm and at rest. Sitting allows digestion to work better and circulation to regulate more smoothly, including through the delicate vessels in the pelvic region. Many of my patients laughed when I told them this, but later admitted they felt lighter, more comfortable, and even more relaxed when they drank sitting down. The third habit is something ancient cultures practiced instinctively. Let the water rest in your mouth before swallowing. Take a sip, hold it for a moment, let it mix with your saliva. Your saliva is alkaline and full of enzymes that prepare your body for absorption. I've had older men try this and tell me they felt less bloated, more refreshed, and even calmer afterward, as if their body was saying, "Thank you." And finally, pay attention to temperature. Ice water may seem refreshing, but it forces your body to work harder, slowing digestion and stealing energy from circulation. Room temperature or warm water, on the other hand, supports smooth blood flow, gentle absorption, and feels more natural to your system. Many men notice their body feels calmer, their stomach more settled, and their circulation steadier when they switch from ice to warmth. These may sound like small, ordinary adjustments, but when combined, they create extraordinary results. They keep your blood flowing, your hormones balanced, and your energy consistent throughout the day. They turn water into not just a habit, but a powerful tool for restoring vitality. But there's still one critical piece left: timing. Because even if you sip, sit, and warm your water, drinking it at the wrong time can undo much of the benefit. And that's exactly what I'll show you next. Timing matters: when to drink water to protect sexual health. Over the years, I've learned something that surprises almost every man I meet. Hydration isn't just about how much water you drink. It's also about when you drink it. Timing can either work with your body's natural rhythm or completely disrupt it. And most men over 60 are unknowingly sabotaging themselves simply by drinking at the wrong times. Take evenings, for example. Many men will down a big glass or even a bottle of water right before bed, thinking they're helping their health. But what happens? They wake up 2, 3, sometimes 4 times during the night to urinate. Each interruption robs them of the deep, restorative sleep their body needs to produce testosterone. And without steady testosterone, energy falls, mood shifts, and erections weaken. What they thought was healthy is actually quietly draining their vitality. Another common mistake is drinking too much water immediately after meals. Your stomach relies on strong acid to break down food and absorb nutrients. But if you dilute that acid with large gulps of water, digestion slows. I've had patients tell me they feel heavy, bloated, or sluggish after meals. And often, the culprit wasn't the food itself, but the timing of their water. By waiting at least 30 minutes after eating before drinking, their digestion improved, their energy stayed steady, and they avoided that uncomfortable, weighed-down feeling. Even healthy foods like watermelon or oranges, which already contain plenty of water, can become a problem if you pile extra water on top. Your body simply can't handle that much liquid all at once. The result? Poor absorption, discomfort, and wasted nutrients. So, when is the best time to drink? The answer is simple: follow your body's rhythm. First thing in the morning, sip a full glass of room temperature water. This reawakens circulation, flushes toxins, and primes your system for the day ahead. Mid-morning, when focus starts to dip, drink again to sustain mental clarity. Mid-afternoon, when energy often crashes, another glass steadies your mood and performance. And throughout the day, sip steadily rather than waiting until you're thirsty. By aligning with these rhythms, you keep your body balanced, your hormones steady, and your circulation flowing exactly when you need it most. The truth is, timing truly is everything. And once you start respecting your body's rhythm, hydration stops being a chore and starts becoming one of the simplest tools for intimacy, strength, and long-lasting energy. But of course, that brings us to the question every man asks me: "Doctor, how much water is actually enough?" And the answer might surprise you. How much water is enough? One of the most common questions men ask me, often with a mix of frustration and hope, is this: "Doctor, just tell me how much water I really need each day." And it's a fair question. For years, you've heard so many different answers. 8 glasses, half your body weight in ounces. Drink until you're not thirsty. No wonder it feels confusing. Here's the truth: your body doesn't work on a one-size-fits-all formula. But there are reliable guidelines that can keep most men on track. In my years of practice, I've found that men over 60 usually thrive on about 2.5 to 3 liters of water daily. That's around 10 to 12 glasses spread steadily across the day. Enough to fuel circulation, balance hormones, and keep your body in rhythm. But, and this is crucial, your needs depend on you. Your size, your activity level, even the climate you live in. A man golfing under the Arizona sun in July will need more than a man in Minnesota during the winter. Your body is constantly giving you signals. You just have to know how to read them. The simplest and most reliable signal is the color of your urine. Pale yellow, you're hydrated. Dark, your body is waving a red flag. Crystal clear all the time, you may actually be drinking too much, flushing out electrolytes and straining your kidneys. I'll never forget one gentleman, proud of his healthy habit, who came to me complaining of cramps, fatigue, and constant bathroom trips. He had been forcing down a gallon of water every day. He thought more was always better, but his body was struggling to cope. When we cut back to a moderate, steady 2.5 liters, his symptoms disappeared. He was stunned at how quickly balance returned. So how much is enough? Enough to keep your urine pale yellow, your energy steady, and your body functioning smoothly. It's less about chasing a number and more about creating consistency. Gentle, steady hydration is what keeps your blood thin enough to flow, your hormones balanced, and your body ready for intimacy when you need it. But here's the part many men don't realize. Even when you're drinking the right amount at the right times, it's natural to feel discouraged when performance isn't what it once was. That's why reassurance matters just as much as science. And that's what I want to share with you next. I want to pause here and speak to you not only as a doctor, but as someone who has sat with thousands of men over the years. Men who looked me in the eye with quiet fear and whispered words they'd never admit to anyone else. Words like, "Doctor, I don't feel like myself anymore," or, "I think my best years are gone." I've heard these words from men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. Men who once carried themselves with unstoppable confidence now sit, slouched, drained, convinced that aging has stolen something they can never get back. And if you've ever felt that way, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not broken. Your body is far more resilient than you give it credit for. Time and again, I've seen men who believed decline was inevitable discover that their bodies were waiting, eager even, to respond once they gave it the right care. It wasn't magic. It wasn't a miracle pill. It was simple, consistent choices. Hydration, movement, better nutrition that restored balance and reignited vitality. I know how easy it is to compare yourself to the man you used to be. Maybe you remember the mornings when you woke up ready for the day, the nights when intimacy felt effortless, the years when your energy seemed endless, and now you feel that gap more than ever. But here's the truth. That gap can be narrowed. Your body may have aged, but it hasn't forgotten how to thrive. Every sip of water you drink the right way. Every decision you make to fuel rather than drain your system. Every choice to believe that vitality is still possible. These are not small things. They're acts of defiance against decline. They're proof that you still deserve to feel alive, strong, and confident. I've seen men's eyes light up when they realized their erections were returning naturally. I've seen them walk taller, speak louder, laugh with more freedom, simply because they believed again in their own strength. And I can tell you this, that spark you thought was gone, it's not gone, it's waiting. And with the right support, you can uncover it again. So don't let discouragement define your story. Age is not the end of performance. Age is simply a stage of life where wisdom joins strength, and strength can be rebuilt. And that leads us into the final, most important part of this journey, bringing all of this together, so you can carry it forward every day. At this point, you've heard the science, the stories, and the habits. But let's step back and tie it all together in the simplest way possible. Because at the end of the day, what matters isn't just knowing, it's believing, and then doing. Water is not just about survival, it is about performance. It is about confidence. It is about the man you still are, and the man you can continue to be. Think about it. Your blood, the very lifeline of every erection, is mostly water. When you are hydrated properly, that blood flows smoothly, freely, with the strength and force your body needs. Your heart pumps easier. Your vessels stay flexible, and your pelvic tissues receive the surge they've been waiting for. But when you neglect hydration, even in small ways, blood becomes thick, sluggish, resistant. That's when performance falters. Your hormones, especially testosterone, are no different. They depend on balance. They depend on an internal environment that is steady, calm, and nourished. Hydration keeps stress hormones in check, lowers cortisol, and allows testosterone to rise. Without it, your body falls into survival mode, pushing intimacy and desire to the back of the line. And your energy, the very fuel of your days and nights, is intimately tied to hydration. A dehydrated body is like an engine running dry. It sputters, it slows, it stalls. But when you give it what it needs, even something as simple as steady water intake, it comes alive again. Fatigue lifts, stamina builds, confidence returns. The takeaway is clear. Water is not just a detail of health, it's the foundation. And when you drink it the right way, sipping slowly, sitting calmly, aligning with your body's rhythm, you unlock a cascade of benefits that ripple through your entire life. I've seen men rediscover intimacy they thought was gone. I've seen them walk into my office, weeks after making these changes, with a smile they hadn't worn in years. And I've seen their partners notice too, responding with warmth, affection, and a spark of their own. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming vitality. It's about reminding your body that it still remembers how to perform, how to connect, how to thrive. And here's the part I love the most. You don't need to wait. This change doesn't require a prescription, a surgery, or a fortune spent on treatments. It begins with a glass of water. It begins with a decision. It begins with you. So the next time you feel that quiet fear, the thought that maybe your best years are behind you, I want you to remember this truth. They're not behind you. They're waiting for you to reach for them. Conclusion. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want you to pause and take a moment to let this sink in. The secret to stronger erections, steadier energy, and renewed confidence isn't hidden in a bottle, a prescription, or a complicated procedure. It's been in front of you all along. It's water, life's most basic, most overlooked gift. I've spent decades as a physician listening to men tell me the same fears. Doctor, I feel like I'm fading, like I'm not myself anymore. They speak of fatigue, of nights filled with frustration, of mornings that once brought energy, but now bring only discouragement. And again, I've seen how something as simple as restoring hydration transformed not only their health, but the way they saw themselves as men. We've walked through it together. You've seen how water fuels blood flow, the hydraulic power behind every erection. You've seen how dehydration quietly sabotages testosterone, replacing strength with stress. You've felt the weight of fatigue that creeps in when your cells run dry, and how that fog can lift when you drink with intention. You've also learned the mistakes so many men make, chugging water too quickly, drinking at the wrong times, relying on cold gulps that strain the system instead of steady sips that nourish it. And you've seen the better way, sipping slowly, sitting calmly, letting saliva prepare your body, and choosing warmth that supports your system instead of shocking it. More than that, you've heard the reassurance that you are not broken, that your story isn't finished, that even at 60, 70, or beyond, you can reclaim vitality and intimacy by aligning with the habits your body was designed for. So here's my challenge to you. Starting today, take one step. Pour a glass of water, sit down, sip it slowly. Let it be more than just hydration. Let it be a reminder to yourself that you are still investing in your health, your confidence, and your future. And now, before you go, I want to ask for your support in building this community. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like this video. It helps it reach more men who need hope. Share it with a friend, a brother, or anyone you know who may be quietly struggling. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss another science-based insight designed for men over 60. And please, leave me a comment. Tell me if this helped you. Tell me what you're going to change today. Type 1 if you're ready to start. Type 0 if you're still unsure. Either way, your voice matters. And if you feel moved to go one step further, consider supporting this channel with a donation. Every contribution, no matter the size, allows me to keep producing these honest, research-based health messages, free and available for the men who need them most. Gentlemen, your health matters, your confidence matters. And your best years are not behind you. They are waiting, ready to be reclaimed. And it all begins with something as simple as water. This is Dr. John E. Morley reminding you. Your body still knows how to be strong. All it needs is your decision to give it what it has been missing. Start today, one sip, one habit, one choice at a time.